Welcome back to our book club. So I did finish reading this book, but I was reading from a friend's book and we had a challenge and I won. You girl, I won. So you had to finish it in like a week or so. And I did that. But then I also bought it because I'm building a collection. Yes, for self-development and everything, everything good that comes with reading the right books. So I bought it also so that now I'm going back, reading it chapter by chapter, slowly taking in anything I might have missed and any lesson and pausing. This time I can pause and reflect on the many things that she brings out. Let me put this phone on because do not disturb. Okay, yeah, Caterina's library. Let's dive into chapter one. She dedicated the book to her husband and her family, the sisters, the mom, the dad. And chapter one is called Running. And it starts with those big words. Um, I don't know. I don't want my content to be flagged because of this. And there are a lot of F words. So, yeah. So that one I won't read. But this was her favorite expression at 8 years old, and she used it defiantly. It's that Cox mother. Yes. Uh, she says she was a spunky, sassy mess, and when she spewed that expression, one hand will be on her hip, her middle finger will be in vast display, and maybe her tongue will be sticking out. And if the situation was especially sticky, as backup, she would call upon her big sister Anita, who instilled fear in every boy, girl, woman, man, and dog in Central Falls, Rhode Island. That's where she's from. Her sister had grown her nails to be a better fighter. She was tough, stylish, talented, and well, angry. I'll get my sister Anita to beat your ass. She'd say with confidence. But unfortunately, her sister was 3 years older, so she was not always there to help her. So Viola always got into some mischief or another, and that was her way of telling the world to see her. Like, I am here because where the background she comes from didn't allow that. She's a black woman growing up in this age where the whites were not into black people, and so she suffered a lot even in school. Like, there's a place where she says every day when the bell rang for home, they would line up at the back of the back door of their classroom, and for her that was time for war. So what she did, she would rush through everyone running because there were these black Portuguese students who hated being called black. So they would gang up with the whites, and there will be 9 or 8, and they will chase her every day, every single day. So she had to run for her life because they will be chasing her, calling her names, calling her, she's ugly, black effing nigger. You are ugly, you're ugly. And one day they caught up with her, and their leader, remember, was this black Portuguese who didn't want to be called black. So they were, let me read that. A boy in my class who was Cape Verdean from the Cape Verde Isles off the coast of West Africa was black and Portuguese, and as black as I was. But he didn't want to be associated with African Americans, a mindset I later learned was very common among Cape Verdeans in Central Falls. More often than not, they self identified as Portuguese. They will kill you if you call them black. So they will run her every evening, throwing stones, sticks, bricks, tree branches, pine cones, anything they found. as they called her black and told her how ugly she was. At this time, she's what? She's a 8-year-old girl, I think, third grader. Yeah. So one day they caught her and she pleaded with the ringleader and she told the Portuguese boy, I don't know why you're saying that to me. You're black too. And she even yelled, you are black too. And it all went quiet because he was the ringleader, the only black Portuguese, and the others are all white. And he hated that, especially when he when Viola said that, and he was like, a deep secret has surfaced out, and he didn't want that. So he hit her in the arm very badly and was like, get out of my face. And I'm not black, I'm Portuguese. Don't you ever call me effing black, and everything. Yeah. So when she went home, after hiding this from her mama for so long, she didn't want to go to school the next day. And the mom was like, why? And she told the mother everything. And the mother was like, Vala? Hmm? Don't you run from those bastards anymore. You hear me? Soon as that bell rings, you walk home. They mess with you, you jag them. And jag here meant you stab them. And she was given a crochet needle to use for that. And she did that. She says it took everything, her soul, her mind, her strength, everything to do that. So she walked very slowly. She was barely moving when these boys came up to her, and one reached her and um, held her arm, and she whispered, if you don't let go of me, I will jag you. And the boy was frightened and looked at her like, did she mean that? And what she saw, or what the boy saw in her face was like, yeah, she means that. And they left her from then. And that's how 8-year-old Viola, was saved from those boys by her mother and her courage, finally. And that's where the story is built around that little 8-year-old girl, because she found out years later that she was still running. And how did she do that? She was in an interview with Will Smith when Will Smith asked her, who really are you? And she was like, I know who I am and everything. Why are you asking that? And Will Smith told her that I am the 15, I will always be. Where were they? He was like, look, I'm always going to be that 15-year-old boy whose girlfriend broke up with him. That's always going to be me. So who are you? And guess the memory that came back to her. And she said it and almost felt the tears coming. She said, I'm the little girl who would run after school every day in third grade because those boys hated me because I was not pretty, because I was black. And she found out that she was still running. Her feet had just stopped moving. And then I was looking back at myself. By now, she was a great actress. She had Broadway credits. Oprah knew her, here's Will Smith and everything. But she was still that little, terrified, third grade black girl. Many years later, many miles away from Central Falls, Rhode Island, but she had never stopped running. And it hit her. And now, as I was reflecting on these first chapters, like, what am I still running from? What have I not yet healed? Her therapist told her one way of doing that is hugging her. This time she's 53. So one way of healing is getting professional services. Do you need to hug, allow in your childhood, your inner child? Look within and find yourself. I'm doing that for me too.